Hello. We'll be starting this practice on our backs today. So uncross your legs if you're seated and come onto your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Arms resting on the mat, palms up. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide. Take a long, slow inhale. As you exhale, let it go. Allow your knees to open a little bit more with every breath. Now stay on your back for a couple of minutes, inviting your hips to open with every breath. Santosha is one of the Yoga Sutras. I wrote about it in one of my blogs on my website. You can see it there. But Santosha is about contentment. It's not about making your life perfect and just as you want it in order to get contentment. It's about finding contentment with the way things are right here, right now, in all of life's imperfections. It's not about accepting things that are maybe not healthy or not good, but it's about finding peace and contentment, even if not everything is going your way. There's a lovely quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, "Contentment makes poor men rich. Discontentment makes rich men poor." So it's just about finding that contentment within you, regardless of what's happening around you. So as we go through the practice today, I invite you to practice with contentment, with Santosha. Even if the poses aren't going exactly as you would like, find contentment with however they are right now in all their imperfections. Take a couple more breaths here. Can you let your knees open a little wider? And now gently place each hand under each knee. And help with your hands, help bring your knees together. Gently hug your knees to your chest and softly rock side to side. Now keep your right knee bent into your chest and straighten your left leg. And switch sides. Hug your left knee into your chest as you straighten your right leg. And then drawing both knees to your chest, place your hands behind your knees and rock along your spine and come up to a seated position. You don't need blocks for this practice, but if you have blocks and you'd like to sit on a block right now, you can do so. Otherwise, just sit right on your mat cross-legged. We're going to do a few rounds of Dirga breath. This is a 3-part wave breath. And so you inhale and exhale through your nose. But on the inhale, imagine a 3-part wave. The same inhale, you begin filling up your belly. Continue to inhale, filling up your rib cage and middle back, and finally your chest and upper back. And then you exhale through your nose and release. So it looks and sounds like this. and exhale. So take a nice long, deep, regular inhale and exhale, and we'll begin. So inhale, fill up your belly. Continue to sip air, filling up your rib cage. Finally your chest, and exhale. Inhale into the belly, the rib cage, chest, and exhale. Continue at your own pace. And after you exhale, breathe naturally. Bring your hands to your side. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Turn your palms out as you exhale, lower your arms down. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. And exhale, lower. One more time, lifting your arms up. And slowly exhale all the way down. Lift your left hand up and place it on the right side of your head. Bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. Let your right shoulder melt away from your right ear. Place that right hand on the mat beside you. Just breathe into the stretch. And then release your left hand, keeping your left ear towards your left shoulder. Turn and look at your left hand on the mat beside you. Now very slowly, come on back up. Place your right hand on the on the left side of your head, and bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Let your left ear melt away from you. It's a passive encouragement. And now lower your right hand to the mat, still keeping your right shoulder near your right ear. Turn your head and look at the mat beside your right leg or near your right hand. And then come on back to center. Uncross your legs and come to a kneeling position. So you're on your knees. Straighten your left leg out to the side. Keep your left foot flat on the mat. Place your left hand, rest it gently on your left leg. Turn your right palm out. On an inhale, reach your right arm up and over to the other side. Draw your right elbow and shoulder back and breathe. Now lower your right hand to the mat. On an inhale, reach your left arm up over your head. Draw your left shoulder back. And come on up to kneeling position. Lower your left knee beside your right. And now straighten your right leg out to the side. Right foot pressed flat into the mat. Right arm rests gently on your right leg. Turn your left palm out. Inhaling, reach your left arm up over your head and over. Let that right hand slide down your right leg. Draw your left elbow back. And then back to center. Place both knees on the mat. Turn and face so you're facing the long end of your mat, and place your hands on the mat, coming into tabletop. On an inhale, arch your back, lower your chest, your belly towards the mat, tilt your pelvis, and look up. As you exhale, round your back, reach your spine towards the ceiling. Let your head lower towards the mat. And inhale, reverse that. Exhale, round your back. And inhale, arch. Keep moving through this at your own pace. Can you find contentment within yourself, throughout your body, as you nurture your spine? And when you come through a neutral spine again, pause here. Stay where you are, and I'll show you the next pose. On an inhale, reach your left arm out to the side and up. As you exhale, lower your left arm, thread it between your right arm and leg, and lower your left shoulder and face onto the mat. Either staying here or reaching your right arm up and resting it behind by your left hip. And place your right hand back onto the mat and come back to tabletop. And now reach your right arm out to the side and up. As you exhale, thread your right hand between your left hand and knee and lower onto your right shoulder. Option to stay here or lift your left arm up and cross it over your back towards your right hip. Lower your left hand and then your right hand back down to the mat. So the next pose is a lovely heart opening pose. In Yin Yoga we call this Anahastasana. So come onto your knees and then come onto your hands. Now keep your hips are roughly directly above your knees right now. Keep your hips where they are and look straight ahead. And without moving your hips or knees, walk your arms forward as far as you can. And then keeping your hips where they are, lower your forehead and chest towards the mat. We'll be here for several breaths. One more breath here. And lift back up. Walk your hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat. And walk your feet forward to your hands. And fold forward. Try to keep your spine straight. Bend your knees as much as you need to keep your spine straight. Let your upper body drape towards the mat. If it's available to you, you can straighten one knee and then the other, or just keep both knees bent. Slowly bring your arms to your side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your palms together at your heart. And release. So for the next pose, bring your arms in an L-shaped position. Now bring your elbows and palms together. Open your hands like a book. So it's like this. Keeping the elbows and outside of your hand together, straighten your arms. Bend your elbows. Now curl your fingers. Place your fingertips on your forehead and slide your fingertips over your scalp to the back. Eventually, the backs of your hands will touch and lower your fingers down your back. Turn your knuckles up. Straighten your arms and lower your arms down. And we'll do this one more time. Come into arms in L-shaped position. Bring your elbows and palms together. Open your hands like a book. Keep the elbows and forearms touching and straighten your arms. Bend your elbows, curl your fingers, place your fingers on your forehead, run your fingers over your scalp towards down your neck, and then let the backs of your hands touch. Flip your fingers facing the ceiling, reach your arms up, and lower your arms down. And now just circle your shoulders forward, up, and back. And then pause somewhere and go the other direction. This is Custer, that's one of my son's cats who's visiting. And pause here. Have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Reach your arms up over your head. With your left hand, hold on to your right wrist. Extend your right arm up towards the ceiling. Let your hips roll to the right and bring your hands to the left. Back to center and switch sides. Right hand on left wrist. Extend your left arm up. Let your hips roll to the left. Bring your hands to the right. Back to center and release. Come to the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. If you have blocks and you want to use them, keep them handy for the next pose, and I will offer you modifications. If you don't have blocks, you can still do these poses. So feet hip distance apart, slide your right foot straight back behind you. Pivot on the toes and bring the heels in, hands on hips. Face your torso towards the front of the mat, and bend your left knee. Hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Can you find contentment within, regardless of how you're feeling in this pose? Tap into that Santosha. Now lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Hands on hips, bring your right hip forward a bit, left hip back. Keeping the legs and spine straight. Lengthen your spine on an inhale. As you exhale, send your hips back. Lead with your chest, keep your spine straight, and fold forward as much as you can without rounding your back. Option to stay here, or place your hands on the mat without bending your left knee, or placing your hands on blocks at whatever height is right for you, or keep your hands on your hips. Wherever you are, if your back is rounding, you've gone too far, so come up. Don't worry about reaching the floor or anything else. This is about your practice. What's right for your body today. And slowly come on back up. Release your hands. Bend your left knee and step your right foot forward. Now step your left foot straight back behind you. Pivot on the toes so you bring the heel in. Hands on hips. Bring your left hip forward, right hip back, and bend your right knee. Your right knee should be either above or behind your right ankle. Right knee also pointing in the same direction as your right foot. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Breathe. Can you be okay with where you are in the practice? Lower your arms and straighten your right leg. Hands on hips. Again, square your hips to the front of the mat. Both legs stay straight here. Lengthen your spine on an inhale. As you exhale, hinge at the hips. Keep that spine straight and fold forward, sending your hips back. Don't worry about how far you go. Some people will come here, others will go here, others will go even further. Don't worry about it. Just do what's best for you and your practice today. Find that edge, play with it, but respect it. Hands can stay on hips, maybe hands reach the mat, or maybe you have blocks. And slowly come on back up. Bend your right knee and step your left foot forward to the front of the mat. As you inhale, lift your arms up over your head. Knees are soft. As you exhale, lead with your chest, hips back, and fold. As you inhale, come halfway up. So your body is in an L-shaped position and your hands land on your legs wherever they land. Nice flat back. On your next exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat and step the right foot back as far as you can. Hands on either side of the left foot. Now lower that right knee to the mat. Offer the hips forward. If your left knee is coming past your ankle or toes, walk that right knee back. And here you can have your hands on the mat, or you can use the blocks if you're using blocks. Keep that left foot flat on the floor. Breathe. And now if you're using blocks, you can take them with you or walk your hands back and straighten the left leg. Now flex those left toes towards you and breathe. Bend your left knee, walk your hands forward again. Tuck your right toes under, lift that right knee up off the mat, and step your right foot forward to meet your left, and fold. And now step your left foot straight back behind you, bend the right knee, and lower that left knee to the mat, inviting both hips forward. If your knee is on the mat and you need extra padding, you can roll up the side of your mat and double it up or place a blanket or towel under the knee. If you're using blocks, take them with you. And everybody walk your hands back, straighten your right leg, really draw that right hip back and flex those toes towards you. Lower your right foot to the mat as you bend your right knee and walk your hands forward. Tuck your left toes under, lift the left knee up off the mat, and step the left foot forward to meet the right, and fold. As you inhale, come on up to standing. Reach your arms up over your head. Exhaling, bring your hands to your heart and release. So come on to the side of your mat, so you're facing the side. We're going to do a moon salutation sequence. Moon salutations are a nice calming, cooling practice. Imagine you're flowing through water as you move from one pose to the next. It's a nice slow practice. Breathe naturally. Don't worry about tying movement to the breath. Just flow through it as you can. So bring your feet parallel to each other. Palms together at your heart. Reach your arms up over your head. Let your hips roll to one side, hands to the other. Back to center and over to the other side. Back to center. Bend your elbows. Take your feet a little wider. Turn your heels out and bend your knees. Just breathe. Straighten your legs, straighten your arms, pivot on your toes and take your feet nice and wide. Pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. Reach forward with your right hand. Let your right arm come down and lift your left arm up. Back to standing. Lower your arms. Pivot on your left heel, bring your toes in and face the front of the mat. You may need to move your right foot over to the right a bit. Hands on hips and fold. Bend your right knee, lower both hands to the mat and step your left foot straight back behind you. Bring both hands to the inside of the right foot, pivot on their feet and turn to the side. Walk your hands over to your other foot, straightening your right leg. Turn and face the other end of your mat, each hand on either side of the left foot. Step your right foot forward just enough that you can pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. And come up to standing. Hands on hips. Draw your left hip back, bring your right hip forward to face the other end of the mat and fold. Come back up to standing. Pivot on the right heel and turn the right toes out. Arms out to the side. Reach forward with your left fingers, lower your left arm, and reach your right arm up. Just find your breath. Back to standing. Pivot on your left heels, bring your toes in. Pivot on your toes and bring your heels in. Bend your elbows. Bend your knees. Nice straight spine. Straighten your legs. Straighten your arms and bring your toes in. Feet are parallel. Hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center, hips to the other side, hands opposite. Back to center, palms together at your heart. And release. So we'll do one more round of moon salutations. So feet parallel to each other, slightly wider than hip distance apart is comfortable. And bring your palms to your heart. Reach your arms up over your head. Hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center. And the other side. Back to center. Bend your elbows. Take your feet a little wider and turn your toes out and bend your knees. Straighten your legs. Straighten your arms. Pivot on your toes and send your heels out. Pivot on your right heel. Turn your right toes out. Reach forward with your right hand. Lower your right arm down, left arm up. Come on back up and lower your arms. Pivot on your left heel, turning your left toes in, face the front of your mat, and heel toe your right foot out to the right as you need to. Right hip back, left hip forward. Both legs are straight. Lean forward with your chest, keeping your spine straight. Bend your right knee and lower both hands to the mat and step your left foot back as far as you can. Bring both hands to the inside of the right foot, pivot on the feet, and turn to the side. Walk your hands to center and over to the left foot. Press into the mat with the right foot. Turn and face the other side of your mat. Left knee is bent, right leg is back. Step your right foot forward just enough that you can pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. And come to a standing position. Facing the opposite end of your mat, draw your left hip back, right hip forward. Hinge at the hips and fold forward, keeping your spine straight. Come on up to standing. Pivot on the right heel, turn the toes out. Left foot is parallel to the long way the mat is. Arms out to the side. Reach forward with your left fingertips and lower your left arm down, reach your right arm up. And breathe. Come on up to standing. Pivot on the left heel, bring the toes in. Bend your elbows. Pivot on your toes and bring your knees in. And bend your knees. Nice straight spine. Straighten your legs. Straighten your arms. Bring your toes in so your feet are parallel. Hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center and over to the other side. Back to center, palms together, come to your heart and release. Take your feet nice and wide. Bring your hands on your hips. Each foot flat on the mat, feet parallel to each other. Lengthen your spine on an inhale. As you exhale, send your hips back and fold forward just halfway. No further. And take a couple of breaths here. And now on your next breath, maybe fold a little more deeply and offer your hands to the mat or to a block or cross your arms. Be here for a couple of breaths. And place your hands on your hips and make your way up to standing. Release your hands and walk your feet together. So we'll come into a balancing pose called Dancing Shiva. Place your right foot firmly on the mat. Bring your arms in an L-shaped position with your thumb and first finger touching. Come onto the toes of your left foot. Right knee has a slight bend in it. Focus your gaze somewhere on the wall or the floor in front of you and lift your left knee up off the mat and immediately flex that left foot. And without letting your left foot touch your standing leg, bring your left heel past your standing leg. And if you fall over, just try again. And now bend your standing leg. Option to stay here or turn to your left and look to your left. Come back to center, lower your arms and lower your legs. It's all a practice. Can we find contentment even in life's imperfections? Place your left foot into the mat and bend your left knee slightly. Come into cactus arms and bring your thumb and index finger together. Come onto the toes of the right foot. When you're ready, lift your right knee up off the mat and flex that right foot. Bring the right heel past the standing leg without touching it. And now bend your standing leg. Either staying here or turning your gaze to the right. Back to center. Lower your arms and lower your foot. Well done. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Let it go. If you're not already there, come to one end of your mat. Hands on the mat, step your right foot straight back behind you. And then lower that right knee to the mat. If you have blocks and you want to use them, keep them handy. But everybody bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. So it looks like this. Hug that left knee to the left shoulder. Send your hips forward. And then bend your elbows, lower your chest towards the floor. Press into the big toe mound of that left foot. Can you lower any more? You can either rest your forearms on blocks, maybe on the mat, or just keep your hands on the mat and gently invite your shoulders lower. And breathe. Remember, hug that left knee to the left shoulder. And then come on back up. And now roll onto the baby toe side of the left foot. So it looks, we were like this, and now lift the big toes up. Let that knee go out to the side. Pivot on that left heel and turn the left toes out. And then again, send your chest forward and down, either staying here, maybe resting your forearms on a block or the mat. It may be easier said than done to find contentment in some of these poses, but try. This is a practice. One more breath. Place your hands on the mat. Place the sole of your foot on the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Lift the right knee up off the mat. And step the right foot forward to meet the left. And fold. Maybe knees are bent. Maybe knees are straight with your spine straight. Inhale all the way to standing. Reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release. And now step your left foot straight back behind you. Bend your right knee and lower both hands to the mat. Step the left foot back even further and lower your left knee to the mat. And send both hips forward. Bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. So it looks like this. Hug that right knee to the right shoulder. Maybe lower down. Keep pressing into the big toe mound. Either resting your forearms on the mat, or maybe on blocks, or just bending your elbows. Keep hugging that right knee to the right shoulder. And then place your hands on the mat. And from here, roll onto the baby toe side of your right foot. So we were here, and just roll to the outside. Now pivot on the heel and turn the toes out. And then bend your elbows, lower your chest in the direction of the mat, using blocks or not. One more breath. Place your hands on the mat. Roll onto the sole of your right foot. And then bring your right knee back to meet your left. Back in tabletop. Tuck your toes, so point your feet. Take your knees as wide as the mat. Bring bring your toes together. And softly lower your hips towards your heels and stretch your arms forward. Maybe resting your forehead on the mat, or you can rest your forehead on forearms, or on two fists, or even a block if you have one. We'll be here for a few breaths. And slowly walk your hands under your shoulders. Lift your hips up over your knees and bring your knees together. And come to a seated position. Straighten your right leg out to the side. And now straighten your left leg out to the side. Reach under your legs and internally rotate your thighs. If you can sit here with your spine straight, you can rest your hands on your legs and then walk your hands forward. If your back is insisting on rounding here, start with your hands behind you on your back and then send your chest forward. Walk your hands forward towards the front of the mat. Breathe as you invite your chest forward a little bit more. Press your knees into the mat and flex your toes towards you. One more breath. And come on back up. Bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Turn and face your left knee and run your right hand down the shin of your right leg. You may just reach halfway, you may reach your foot. Turn your right palm up. Open your left shoulder back, and as you inhale, reach your left arm up over your head and left finger somewhere in the direction of the left foot. But draw that left shoulder back. Somewhere in the direction of the right foot, I'm sorry. And then come on back up. And now turn and face your right leg, your straight leg. Walk your hands forward and send your chest towards your toes. Flex those toes towards you. And then come on back up. Reach your left hand and place it on the mat behind your left hip. Roll onto your left knee, lift your hips up right up off the mat and reach your right arm up and back. And stretch. And then lower your hips back down. Bring the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana. Place your hands on your ankles and try to sit up as straight as you can. If your back is still rounding, you can keep your hands behind you to keep your spine straight. Every exhale, invite your chest forward. You're hinging at the hips. If your elbows can, push your knees open with your elbows. Breathe into the stretch. And then come on back up and straighten your left leg. Bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh, and now turn and face your bent knee, your right knee. Place your left hand on your left leg. Open the right shoulder back. Turn the left palm up and run the left hand down the left leg. Turn your right palm up. As you inhale, reach your right arm up over your head. Breathe. Maybe your right hand is somewhere near your toes, maybe not on this side. Find Santosha within, no matter the end result of the pose. Slowly come on back up, and now turn and face your left leg. Walk your hands towards your left foot. Keep flexing those toes towards you, and send your chest forward towards your toes. Press that left knee into the mat. And then walk your hands back. Place your right hand on the mat beside your right hip, behind your right hip. Roll onto your right knee, lift your hips up, and reach your left arm up over the head and back. Breathe. And then slowly come on back down. Lower your arm. Bend both legs. Place both feet on the mat. And lower onto your back. Place your arms out in a T position and lift your feet up off the mat. Have your legs in an L-shaped position. So I'll show you how it's going to look. We're going to move our legs side to side here. So on the back, you bring knees to one side and then over to the other. And keeping the knees above the hips. So just start with them in L-shaped position. Bring your knees over to the right, back to center, and then over to the left, back to center. The right and center and left and center. Keep going. If you want a little more challenge, you can straighten your legs. For more challenge, lower your feet closer to the mat and keep going side to side. Move with control. One more time to the right and left, back to center And softly hug your knees to your chest. Rock side to side. Massage your back. Now take your knees wide and bring the soles of your feet together. Grab the outside of your feet or your ankles or shins, whatever you can grab, and pull them towards you. With your elbows, push your knees away from you as you pull your feet towards you. Release the feet and lower your feet to the mat. Cross your right ankle and place your right ankle over your left thigh. So it looks like this from the front. Keep that right foot flexed. Right knee moves away from you. Now lift your left foot up off the mat, reach behind your left thigh and pull that left knee towards you, using your right elbow to push your right knee away from you. Keep your right foot flexed as you draw your left knee closer to you. Find your breath. And then release your legs and lower your feet back down to the mat. Now lift your left foot up, keep that foot flexed, and place your left ankle over your right thigh. Push your left knee away from you. When you're ready, lift your right foot up off the mat, reach behind your right knee and pull that right knee towards you. With your left elbow, push your left knee away from you. Flex that left foot. Breathe. And then release your feet and lower them down to the mat. Reach behind your knees, roll up to a seated position. Straighten your right leg out front. Cross your left foot over your right. Now, with your right hand, pull your ankle towards your right hip. And then with your hands, try to lower that left knee on top of the right. And then lean forward and walk your hands forward. Keep that left foot flexed as you stretch forward. This is Ardha Gomukhasana, half cow face pose. You'll probably feel a stretch in your hips. You may feel it in your hamstring. You'll feel it wherever you're tightest, maybe everywhere. Or maybe you're wondering what the purpose of the pose is. Just breathe here. Can you let go just a little bit more? And then come on back up. Straighten your left leg and bend your right leg and cross your right foot over your left. Bring your right foot back towards your left hip and then lower your right knee to your left. And then face your extended leg and walk your hands forward. Keep that right foot flexed and bend forward. And then walk your hands back and uncross your legs. With your knees bent, roll onto your back. Arms out away from you in a T position. Slide your hips over to the right. Bring your feet together. You can either roll your knees over to the left as you are, if you'd like a deeper twist. Cross your left leg over the right and now lower your knees to the left and turn your gaze to the right. If this is too intense, just uncross your legs for a gentle twist. You're welcome to soften your gaze or close your eyes or keep them open here. Relax into the twist. Can you find contentment, Santosha, with your practice, even with all its imperfections? Can you be grateful for simply having practiced, for having done your best? Bring your knees back to center, uncross your legs if they're crossed, and slide your hips over to the left. Either just letting your knees roll to the right or crossing your right leg over your left and then lowering your knees to the right. Turn your gaze and look over towards your left hand. One more breath here. Uncross your legs if they're crossed and come back to center. The next pose is Shavasana. If you like to have a blanket or a sweater or an eye pillow, get whatever you need for Shavasana. And then when you're ready, straighten your legs. Your arms are near your sides, palms facing up. I'll be in a seated position. As you settle into Shavasana, relax every muscle in your body. Can you allow your body to fully relax and let it melt into the mat? If your mind wanders, come back to your breath. Contentment makes poor men rich. Discontentment makes rich men poor. Benjamin Franklin. Allow your breath to deepen. Bring awareness to your fingers, your arms. Wiggle your toes and legs. And now stretch your whole body in any way that is right for you. And whenever you're ready, softly hug your knees to your chest and roll over to your right side. And take as much time as you need to come up to a seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.